So ms is magnetic momentum of a solenoid. It is 0.40 into 10 to the power of 4. N is number of turns 1000. So area of cross section is 2. So it is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 4. This minus 4 goes up. So initially this is the step. So I is equal to, this minus 4 goes up, 0.40 into 10 to the power of 4 by 1000 into 2. So we will get 10. So 10 into this one, 4 by 2, 2 amperes. Like this, we can divide the problems with their solutions. Now we will see the dipole analogy, or the comparison of electric field analog to magnetic field. So what we can understand in this concept is there is some similarities, means seems to be same in some content with electric field and magnetic field. So if you see the analogy E to B, in electric field it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, but in magnetic field mu naught by 4 pi. By this analogy we can find out the speed of the electromagnetic wave also. Speed of the EM wave. So if this is the case, magnetic field at equatorial plane is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into m by r cube. But in case of magnetic field at axial line is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into 2m by r cube. At the same time, electric when with respect to the electric dipole, same you will get equatorial plane, we will get 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into some p by r cube. Here it is 2p by r cube. Now we will see the analogy of these dipoles with respect to the content. So now we will see the dipole analogy. If this is the case, so we will see in electrostatics, magnetostatics, so the symbol in the electrostatics is common 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Magnetostatics mu naught by 4 pi. Dipole moment first point. So if you see the dipole moment, in case of electrostatics it is represented by P. In case of magnetostatics it is represented by M, magnetic dipole moment. So electric field at equatorial plane, with respect to the dipole. In case of electrostatics, it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into p by r cube. Magnetostatics mu naught by 4 pi into m by r cube. At equatorial or axial line, axial point, same magnetic field dipole momentum. It will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught to 2p by r cube. Here it is mu naught by 4 pi into 2m by r cube. So the external source, energy is there, momentum is also there. So in case of external field, torque, First one is torque. In electrostatics, it is represented by P cross E. In magnetostatics, it is represented by M cross B. See the comparison. Means the formular structure seems to be same. In case of dipole momentum of electric, it is represented by the magnetic field momentum. In case of electric field strength, it is represented by magnetic field strength. That is replacing. Means the same natured physical quantities are replaced in the two fields. That is said to be the analogy. So the same next one, external field energy. So in this case, what we can understand, energy, here it is P dot E minus P dot E cos theta. Here it is minus M dot B. So like this, in place of P, replaced by M in magnetic field, in place of E, replaced by B, in place of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, it is replaced by mu naught by 4P. So 4 pi. So like this, we can see the analogy with compared to the electric field and magnetic fields. This is the problem which is related to the magnetic field due to the dipole at equatorial and axial line points. What is the magnitude of the equatorial and axial fields due to bar magnet of length 8 cm at a distance of 50 cm from its midpoint? So the magnetic moment of the bar magnet is 0.40 am square. So magnetic field due to equatorial point is mu naught by 4 pi into m by r cube. Mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7. 4 pi get cancelled. This whole will become 10 to the power of minus 7. So the m is 0.40. R cube is 0.5 whole cube because it is 50 centimeters. So 15 10 to the power of minus 2 whole cube. So 50 into 50 into 50 into 10 to the power of minus 6. So you will get 0.5 whole cube. So we will get this will be some 10 to the power of minus 7 into 0.40 by. So 0 5 5s are 25, 25 5s are 125. So it will be 0.125. So we will get the answer 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Tesla. Like that. Magnetic field at axial point. So the axial point is mu naught by 4 pi into 2m by r cube. So already mu naught by 4 pi into m by r cube is 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Tesla into 2. So we can write BA is equal to 2 into BA. So therefore 2 into, what is the BA answer? 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Tesla. So we will get 6.4 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Tesla. So this is the magnetic field due to the dipole at equatorial plane. This is at the axial point. The next concept is Gauss law in magnetism. Gauss law in electrostatics we have discussed E dot ds cos theta. But what about the Gauss law in magnetism? In case of electrostatics, electric field lines are infinite nature to travel. But in case of magnetic field, field lines are closed loops. So within a closed loop, the total displacement is 0. So with respect to that, Mr. Gauss discovered B, it's a magnetic field, and he considered one plane like this. So if this is the plane, so like this we have discussed one lighter area. We took one small element of the surface, this element ds, and this is the B. This is the ds. So magnetic field lines and the surface, they both are perpendicular to each other. Therefore, phi b, nothing but the magnetic flux, is equal to b dot ds. What is magnetic flux, first of all? Like electric flux only, the number of magnetic field lines that are passing through unit surface area of the conductor is called magnetic flux. So magnetic field lines that are passing through unit surface area of the conductor or surface material is called magnetic flux. It's called magnetic flux. The symbol is phi b, as we mentioned earlier. So field lines are strength of the magnetic field in unit surface area. But if these are in a closed loop, it is 0. So that's why b dot ds is equal to phi b is equal to b ds cos theta. So therefore, summation over phi b is equal to 0. We can understand this concept with electrical analogy also, because E is perpendicular to P. Where electric field lines are parallel to the plane, so cos 0 is 1. But magnetic field lines are perpendicular to the plane with respect to the propagation of electric field lines. So that's why summation over magnetic flux is 0 throughout a surface area. With this concept, Mr. Gauss proved that monopoles in the magnetism not exist. Monopole in magnetism not exist. But in case of electric fields, monopoly existed until and unless an opposite charge is placed in a finite distance. Now we will discuss about the Earth's magnetism, means magnetic behavior of the Earth. Ancient days, the magnetic behavior of Earth is due to many other reasons. The people thought like that. Means something hidden in the inside the Earth, it is attracting the all other Earth particles, or some magnetic dipoles or monopoles are existed inside the depth of the Earth. That's why it is behaving as a magnetic behavior. And one more thing, many metals are there under beneath of the Earth's crust, so that's why these metals behaves like a magnet. That's why Earth is also behaving like a magnet. Many thinkings are there, many assumptions are there about the magnetic behavior of the Earth, but it may be true or may not be true. The correct explanation about the magnetic behavior of Earth is dynamo effect. What is the dynamo effect? Yes, under beneath of the Earth, it contains metals like iron, copper, cobalt, nickel, etc., etc. Many metals are there. Earth is giving many metals, producing many metals. They are hidden. They are available in liquid state under beneath. The liquid forms of these metallic fluids are flowing from one end of the Earth to another end of the Earth in under beneath part. That's why it is said to be metallic fluids. Which are in a liquid state. These metals are in a liquid state. The current of the metallic fluid, current means nothing but the flow. The current of the metallic fluids under beneath of the Earth causes to the magnetic behavior of the Earth. The current of the metallic fluids which are under, beneath of earth is called dynamo effect. This dynamo effect, this is the reason for the actual magnetic behavior of the earth. But if you see a freely suspended bar magnet or a compass needle, that needle won't merging with the earth's axis of the magnetic field. They are slightly away from the earth's magnetic field. We will see what is the reason of that. So the order of the magnetic field strength of the earth is 10⁻⁵ Tesla. The order of earth's magnetic field strength. This is the question. But if you see the magnetic dipole, means north and south poles, the dipole rotation is not merging with the actual line which joins the geographical north and south poles. It will be like this. Suppose if this is the globe, this is the vertical axis which represents the north and south poles. Magnetic compass needle always be like this. Freely suspended. This NS is the geographical axis. This compass box is the magnetic dipole axis. There is always a separation between these poles and these poles. The separation is approximately equal to 11.3 degrees. It is not exactly merging with the north and south poles of the geology. So in this case, the location of the north pole of earth is some 79.74 north and 71.8 degrees west at the latitude and altitude. This is the latitude, this is the altitude. This is the location of the North Pole. And what is the location of the South Pole? We should go to the South Pole, somewhere at Canada. So the location of South Pole is same exactly 79.74 south degrees south and 108.22 degrees east. This is at Canada. This is at Antarctica. So like this, exactly 90 degrees to there is a variation of 11.3 degrees from the magnetic dipole axis to the Earth's dipole axis. It is not completely merging. So if you see the diagram, if this is the globe, which is in a spherical shape, to see it clearly. This is geographical North Pole, this is geographical South Pole, SG. So this is the point of suspension. This is theta. So NG is equal to geographical North Pole. SG is equal to same geographical South Pole. And one more thing we can discuss this. This is the angle difference, because what is the need and why this north pole of the magnet is not interacting or merging with the geographical north pole? Because there is a force of repulsion, because these two are north and north and these two are south and south. So that's why some angle of deviation or declination will be there between the two poles of earth and magnet. So this is north pole of the magnet, and this is, we can extend this one, south pole of the magnet. NM, north pole of magnet. This SM, south pole of the magnet. This theta will be approximately 11.3 degrees angle of declination. So if you want to see this, this is the geographical equator, this is the magnetic equator, GM. So the pole or the pole of the magnet which is near to the geographical north pole is north magnetic fold. The pole which is near to the geographical south pole is called south magnetic pole. In other words, this is called north seeking pole, this is called south seeking pole. So what is the exact location of the north pole or south pole of the magnet? North pole of the magnet is near to the geographical north pole of the earth. South pole of the magnet is near to the south pole of the geographical earth. These other names are called north seeking pole and south seeking pole. So this is the problem based on the Earth's magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic field at the equator is approximately 0.4 g, means 0.4 and 10 to the power of minus 4 Tesla. Estimate the Earth's dipole moment. So the formula is B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into m by r cube. So we should find out m, Earth's dipole moment. So m is equal to br cube by mu naught by 4 pi. Yeah, we know the b. So the b value is 0.4 g, means 0.4 into 10 to the power of minus 5 Tesla. R is radius of the earth, it is 6.4 into 10 to the power of 6 meters. Cube is there, that's why we are applying the cube again. Mu naught by 4 pi, it is nothing but 10 power minus 7. So if you substitute all the values, we will get Earth's dipole moment 1.05 into 10 to the power of 23 ampere meter square. So like this is the Earth's dipole moment. This value is close to 8 into 10 to the power of 22 am square. That means 0.8 into 10 to the power of 23 as the order am square. So this value is close to the value which we got in the problem, is close to the actual value of the geographic or Earth's dipole moment. That's why these values will exist in the geographic note. Now we are going to discuss about magnetic declination and dip. Previously we have seen what is the direction of the geographic north and south poles and what is the direction of magnetic north and south poles. So it will be like this. Suppose we are considering Earth as a sphere, a spherical surface. Yeah, it has a own rotatory axis while it is rotating and precesses themselves and itself. So it is like this. So sphere is a 3D shape. So it is very difficult to join that on a 2D board. That's why we will get a 2D shape of the Earth. So it is a sphere. It has one rotatory axis. But if you see the global structure of the earth, we know that this is east, this is west, this is north, this is south. There is a line which joins the geographic north and south poles, or geographic north direction and south direction, is called geographic meridian. The line which joins the Earth's north and south pole is called geographic meridian. So this geographic meridian which joins the north and south poles of the earth, this one, so we can write this one as G. But if you see the direction of the magnetic field, yes, it will be like this. Previously we have discussed about a freely suspended bar magnet or a freely suspended solenoid. When it is freely suspended under the influence of Earth's gravitational field, yes, this is the north pole of the magnet, this is the south pole of the magnet. There is a line which joins the north pole and south pole of the magnet. This line which joins the north pole and south pole of the magnet, it is called magnetic meridian. So we can write this one as M. Magnetic meridian. So it is the line which joins the north and south poles of a magnet, which joins the north and south pole of the magnet. Whenever a bar magnet freely suspended, it shows the exhibition of magnetic field like this. We know the force of repulsion is the reason for this small deviation of the actual north pole of the magnet with respect to the Earth's north pole and actual south pole of the magnet with respect to the south pole of the Earth, because force of repulsion is taken place between these two similar poles of Earth and magnet respectively. So this magnetic field or magnetic meridian line is making an angle with respect to the vertical axis of the Earth's or geographic meridian. So this one is making an angle with this north and south poles of the Earth. This is said to be angle of declination. So this one, where D is equal to angle of declination. This is also called magnetic declination or simply declination. So D is called magnetic declination or simply declination. Next, yes, this is the angle of dip or angle of declination. But this magnetic meridian axis is making an angle with respect to the horizontal line of the Earth also. This one. So the angle made by the vertical axis of the Earth to the magnetic meridian is called angle of declination, D. but the same magnetic meridian axis making an angle with respect to the horizontal axis of the earth also, which is passing through the equator. This is called angle of inclination, where I is equal to angle of inclination. The another name of this angle of inclination is called angle of dip. So these values are very small in India at some particular places. This angle of declination is higher at the higher altitudes, smaller at the equators. Whenever the declination is larger, inclination will be less, and declination is smaller, inclination will be larger, because they are the opposite in nature, and we can say, so if it is theta, it will be 90 minus theta, like that. So if d is theta, I will be 90 minus theta. We know the trigonometrical rules, so we can apply the same here. So these one increasing, another one will decrease. So they both are reciprocals to each other, or we can say inversely proportional to each other. In this case, so what about the India? How to seek the exact north pole or exact north direction for this India? So for that purpose, if you go to the two different places in India, one place is Delhi, this is the reference points, one place is Mumbai. So in Delhi, the angle of declination is 0 degrees 41 minutes at east. In Mumbai, it is 0 degrees 58 minutes of west. So these are the values. Means in Delhi it is shifts towards the east. Okay, so like this. This will be 0 degrees 41 minutes. The same will be here. So it will be 0 degrees 58 minutes of the west. So these two values are very less when compared to the remaining parts of India. That's why at these two places we can expect the actual seeking of the North Pole, or the true direction of the north, true position of the North Pole of north direction. So like this we can understand the magnetic declination and dip. So how to find out the actual magnetic strength of a position on the earth? It should be resoluted into 2 or 3 components, and we should do the vector addition of those components. So to find out the total magnetic field, the magnetic field at a point on earth is having 3 resoluted components. First one is HE, horizontal component. Second one is ZE, vertical component. The last one is BE, resultant magnetic field. So if you go back to the vectors calculation, if two vectors A, B are like this, C bar will give the A bar plus B bar, like that. So such that the total magnetic field BE will be a vector addition of HE and ZE. So for this purpose, we should take a point P on Earth's surface. So it will be like this. Yes, we are taking a point P here. This is the true north direction. So at this point P on earth, we are calculating the total magnetic field. So the total magnetic field will be resoluted as HE BE and exactly downwards vertical ZE. So this is angle of declination. So this is angle of inclination. This is an axis which is passing through it. So if you want to find out the total magnetic field of the earth with respect to this HE and ZE, we should do the vector calculation. In this case of vector calculation, so what we can understand is, if you see this one, yes, sin I is equal to ZE by BE, cos I is equal to HE by BE. So HE is equal to BE cos I, ZE is equal to BE sin I. So if you calculate those things, we will get the vector component of the Earth's magnetic field in the terms of tan. So from this diagram, sin I is equal to, we can join this HE and BE like this. So sin I is equal to ZE by BE. So we can write ZE is equal to BE sin I. This is equation 1. Next, cos I is equal to HE by BE, adjacent. From this we can write HE is equal to BE cos I. This is equation 2. If you do 1 by 2, equation 1 by equation 2 on LHS and RHS, we will get BE by BE cancel out, sin I by cos I is tan I, so ZE by HE. Equation 1 by equation 2 will give ZE by HE is equal to BE sin I by BE cos I is nothing but tan I. So the vertical component of the Earth's magnetic field is equal to tan of inclination into horizontal component of the Earth. So this is the formula we are going to use to find out the Earth's magnetic field at a given particular position. Spherically, this will be written in a different way. The spherical shape of this Earth's magnetic field will be like this. Here we are taking a sphere. This is the actual magnetic north. This will be ZE. This will be HE. This is the resultant BE. So ZE and BE are opposite to each other. ZE and HE are in the same nature. So BE and HE are adjacent to each other with respect to angle. Theta, phi. So we can write this one as vertical component as an inclination, this one as a declination. So like this, we can understand this concept. So what will happen when a magnet is placed at the poles? So at poles, the magnetic behavior is very small to exist. So because at poles, some G value also increases. If G value increases, there is a different situation with respect to the magnetism. So at poles, the magnetic field lines appear to be converged or diverged from a common point. Converged at one common point or diverged from a common point. Because the magnetic field strength is very particular about one position and remaining position it is very negligible. So that's why mostly the magnetic field appear to be seems vertically down with a slight angle difference like this. Slight angle, very slight, because it is near to the poles. So in the direction, so we will see a small dip angle. So because of this small dip angle, it won't be a significant magnetic field at the poles. It seems to be a downward in the nature. Here is the problem with respect to the total magnetic field at a meridian axis. The content of the problem is, in the magnetic meridian of a certain place, the horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field is 0.26 Gauss. So we can write the solution. So while we are solving any problem, it is better to write all the physical quantities, then we may get an idea to solve it. So horizontal Earth's magnetic field is 0.26 Gauss. So and the dip angle is 60 degrees. Cos I it is, where I is equal to 60 degrees. Angle of dip I is equal to 60. Cos 60. Cos I is equal to cos 60 degrees. Cos 60 degrees is equal to sin 30. It will be half. So what is the magnetic field of the Earth at this location? So we should find out what is the magnetic field of Earth. So there is a relation between HE, BE, cos E. So cos I is equal to HE by BE. So we can write BE is equal to HE by cos I. So the HE is equal to 0.26 Gauss. Cos I is equal to half. So therefore BE is equal to 0.26 by half. This 2 will go up, 0.52 Gauss. This point is very, very important. So like this we can find out the BE values. The next concept is magnetization and magnetic intensity. And magnetic intensity. These two concepts are correlated to each other. So if you take a solenoid or any interior of the solenoid, it contains two different magnetic fields, interior field, exterior field. The total magnetic field due to the solenoid is the sum of interior field plus exterior field. So the total magnetic field is equal to M is equal to M net by unit volume. So the magnetization is equal to capital M is equal to M net per unit volume. We know that magnetic field strength B is equal to mu naught Ni, where N is equal to number of turns per unit length, where I is equal to total current passing through it, where mu naught is the permeability. If this is the case, take a solenoid like this. This is the turn. So if this is the case of the solenoid, if the interior of the solenoid is placed with a non-zero magnetic substance, then the magnetic field inside the solenoid will be greater than the B naught, which is actually B naught. So the magnetization due to this non-zero magnetic field will be Bm. We can write this one as mu naught into M. So we can write B is equal to B naught plus Bm. So the total magnetic field is equal to interior plus exterior, or with in the absence of the magnetic material plus in the presence of the magnetic material. So B naught is equal to mu naught Ni. So we can write Ni is equal to H. So therefore B naught is equal to mu naught H. So mu naught H plus mu naught M. So B is equal to B naught plus Bm. It is mu naught H plus mu naught m. So we can write mu naught into h plus m. Now we are going to derive the equation or importance between the h and b. So b by mu naught is equal to h plus m. H is equal to b by mu naught minus m. This H is called magnetic intensity. So, the total magnetic field due to a solenoid or due to any material is explained in two ways. Sum of magnetic intensity plus M. So, what is this H and what is this M? We are going to discuss now. So, the total magnetic field inside a sample. Inside a sample is two types. One is due to the external factors. The magnetic field due to the external factors is represented by magnetic intensity, nothing but H. One is due to the specific nature of the material used. Due to the specific nature of the material used. This is represented by M, magnetization. So, magnetization is nothing but the magnetic field due to the specific nature of the material used. Magnetization intensity or H, magnetization intensity H is called as the magnetic field due to the external factors. These two are related like this. M is equal to chi H, where chi is called susceptibility. This susceptibility is one of the important terms to classify the magnetic materials. Now we are going to substitute this M is equal to chi H value in the given expression above in the previous one. We are going to find out this susceptibility values. So we know that M is equal to chi H. So B is equal to mu naught into H plus M. So we can write mu naught into H is H, M is equal to chi H. So if you take place mu naught H into 1 plus chi is equal to B. This chi is susceptibility. If this chi value is less than 0, means minus, negative values, means negative values. This will be diamagnetic substance. If this chi value is greater than 0, but small values, not the larger one, that is paramagnetic. Greater than 0, positive, but small scale, it is paramagnetic. If the same chi value greater than 0 means positive only, but in large scale means the values will be high, so high. In that case, that magnetic substance is ferromagnetic. Same chi is greater than 0, positive only, but large scale, larger magnitude. That is ferromagnetic. This is the classification of magnetic materials on the basis of chi value or susceptibility values. But how they will behave, what is their nature, we are going to discuss now. So we got B is equal to mu naught H into 1 plus chi. We can write mu R is equal to 1 plus chi. So B is equal to mu naught mu R into H. Mu naught into mu R is mu H. So we can understand that where in place of 1 plus gamma chi we wrote mu R. So what is this one? Relative magnetic permeability. This relative magnetic permeability values really gives the explanation of the different magnetic materials. So mu naught into mu R into H, we wrote B is equal to mu H. So therefore mu is equal to B by H, and we can write B is proportional to H also. So the units and dimensions of the H are similar to the units and dimensions of B. So this relative magnetic permeability is analogous to dielectric constant in electrostatics. It is analogous to dielectric constant. Analogy with respect to the dielectric constant K. This is the problem which relates the BH mu naught. The content of the problem is the solenoid has a core of a material with relative permeability 400. So we should write the quantities. Relative permeability mu R is equal to 1 plus chi is equal to 400. The windings of the solenoid are insulated from the core and carry a current of 2 amperes. The current carried by the solenoid is 2 amperes. I is equal to 2 amperes. If the number of turns is 1000 per meter, therefore N is equal to 1000 per meter. Calculate A, H, B, M, C, B and magnetizing current IM. So we will find out one by one. So first bit is A, H is equal to Ni. So N is equal to 1000. I is equal to 2 amperes. So therefore H is equal to 2000 A per meter square. So H is equal to 1000 into 2 amperes, it is 2000 A per M. So the B bit M. So if you want to find out the B M, we should find out the B first. So the B value is mu R mu naught H. Mu R we have 400. Mu naught 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7. H 2 into 10 cube. So this is 10 cube, 10 square, 10 power 5, 10 power 4 into 8, 8 into 4 pi, 32 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7, 32 into 3, it will be approximately 10. So you will get 1 Tesla. This is B value. So to find out the M value, So M is equal to chi h. So if you want to find out the M value is chi h, the chi is 400. So chi is equal to 1 minus mu r into h. So 1 minus mu r is 400. So mu r minus 1 is 399. H is 2 into 10 cube. 399 into 2, 798 into 10 cube. So we should find out the magnetizing current. The magnetizing current through the solenoid is nothing but the minimum amount of current which can pass through the solenoid under these magnetic fields. So it should be represented by B is equal to mu r n naught into I plus Im. So the current should cross over the core of the magnetic material to withstand with this magnetic field. So we know that mu r 400, n naught, n is equal to 1000 per meter, n naught is equal to 10. So I is equal to 2 amperes plus Im. B is equal to 1 Tesla. So from this we can write 2A plus Im is equal to 1 by 4000. So Im is equal to 1 by 4000 minus 2 amperes. So we will get 794 amperes. So almost 800 minus 2, like that we will get 794 amperes. So this much is the current which is needed to pass over the magnetizing current which is passes through the solenoid.